station.
Yeah, you're going to have to travel, by the way, from Cleveland if you want to check out that Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison. They've added Joan Jett and the Blackhearts to that lineup.
Oh, damn.
They're doing legit stadiums. I thought they were just kind of doing some outside venues, but they're doing ballparks on this tour, but you'll have to travel. There's not going to be any Cleveland date. You'll have to go to Pittsburgh or Detroit. They're going to play PNC Park on August 16th. And they're going to play Comerica, where the Tigers play, on August the 20th. They'll do Wrigley Field. Again, they're doing all these huge ballparks. So, hot on the heels of not even 4 years since Motley Crue said they would never tour again. They said that they were they missed being in a band with each other, which
liars.
They
missed money.
I interpret to mean we got real bored real fast, or all of our other projects fell through.
Vince Neil's supposed to be getting into shape for this tour.
Listen, that's what I said. You know, when Axl first went back out before the full-on GNR reunion, when he was just out with those other guys that had been in the band, everybody would make fun of Fat Axl. Mm-hmm. But when the band reunited, I don't know if he's still in shape, but he got in shape. I mean, he didn't look like 1989 Axl, but he got in much better shape. And I think Vince Neil would be smart to do the same thing. Bret Michaels has always stayed in shape. And that dude's diabetic.
Yeah,
I don't know if that works for you or against you.
He went so far that he even lost his hair.
He lost a lot. But, boy, if you got a chance to see any of the still shots from the press conference that they had, where it's Def Leppard, who are kind of trying to be like Dapper Dons. They're all wearing, like, dark suits. And then Motley Crue, who just kind of do their thing. And then there's Poison, and those guys, Bret Michaels aside, the other guys in Poison, there's a lot of guts there. And Joan Jett, still looks fine. But it really three different pictures of three very different bands. But everybody looking pretty hard. So anyway, they're going on that tour next year. They're doing ballparks all across these United States. It will kick off July the 7th at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And it will wrap in September in L.A. Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. That's exciting. I'll tell you what's more exciting than that. You say to yourself, well, Alan, that sounds all well and good, but what about something closer to home? The Alan Cox Show 10th anniversary special.
Now you're talking.
You won't even have to wait that long for it. It is going to be a week from Monday. It is the 16th of this month. It will be the final show of 2019. We are celebrating my 10th anniversary here at WMMS. To the day, December 16th, we're going to do a show live in Strongsville at Slim and Chubby's. Regular show time, 2 to 6:30. And we're going to have guests, and we're going to have prizes and fun. It's all brought to you by Bud Light, and we're very excited. So we'd love to have you along. People have been hitting me up nonstop, like, do I need a ticket? You don't.
Nope.
Can I come in and do it? Yeah, just show up.
I just had someone hit me up. What time should I get there? 2 o'clock when it starts. Maybe a little bit earlier.
Earlier than that.
Yeah.
Sure. Get there, get yourself a seat, get settled in. But that all goes down Monday, December the 16th, and then we'll be gone for the holidays.
We're announcing the winner of the Bill Squire Chris McQuanzica Bud Light box at that broadcast, so that'll be fun.
Somebody's going to be watching that show in style.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot going on that day. So if you are out Strongsville way, or you can see your way to getting down there, or over there, or up there, relative to wherever you are, come on out. It'll be a lot of fun. Your thoughts on the Lamar Jackson thing?
All right, so do you have the audio by chance?
I don't. I was really looking for it, but I don't have it. It's
okay.
It's from a radio station in San Francisco. KNBR is a big sports radio station out there.
I don't want to speak on it fully, but I would like Poundcake's point of view because he is a person of color, as they say.
Well, let me encapsulate the thing here. Tim Ryan, who I remember, by the way, on the Bears when I was in high school. He was never like a marquee player, but he was with the Chicago Bears when I was like in high school and going into college. He has been an analyst for the 49ers for a while now. Like 15 years, maybe, something like that. So he does a regular bit. Sports stations will have like columnists call in or whatever, and he does a regular bit on a San Francisco radio station. The Murph and Mac Show is what it's called. And he was talking about Lamar Jackson, who is doing really well right now for the Ravens, right?
Yeah, he's doing great. They lit up the 49ers this week, and one of the things that he said was he's doing these, he's having a great season, and one of the things that he's selling real hard on different plays is play action, where you don't know if he has handed the ball off or if he still has it, and part of the reason is he's wearing a dark uniform and he has dark skin, so it's harder to see the ball.
Yeah, I'll read you the quote. He's really good at that fake, Lamar Jackson, but when you consider his dark skin color with a dark football, with a dark uniform, you could not see that thing, he said. I mean, you literally could not see when he was in and out of the mesh point.
And that's what people are
the 49ers
upset
have
about.
Suspended Tim Ryan, for Sunday's game at least, because he pointed out that this quarterback is black.
Right. And I think that's...
who everybody already knew.
Right. And what is offensive about this? Because he's holding a brown football and his skin is similar color. I feel like being offended about him pointing that out, or like people being offended by that, are almost shaming Lamar Jackson for having dark skin.
Yeah,
that's what it comes across as to me, is like, are you trying to remind him that he's black? That's how I feel when I hear this. I don't think he's being a racist in any way, but I don't know. I would defer to Poundcake, though.
I don't think he is either. I would just say that anytime somebody mentions the color of your skin in sports conversations, it always gets a little weird.
I agree.
It always gets a little weird because there are it's
so dicey. Like, you don't want to speak on anything because no matter what, it's so toxic on either side. No matter what you say, someone's going to get pissed off.
I mean, I get what the guy was saying, but first of all, if you've seen Lamar Jackson, his skin does not mimic the color of a football.
No, it doesn't mimic the color, but it's the entire situation where he's got dark skin, he's wearing a dark uniform.
I understand the picture the guy was trying to paint.
That's what he's trying to make.
It was really clunky.
People would be pissed off if he said something along the lines, oh, if they're wearing a black uniform and the black skin, he's probably, more tired than other players because the sun is beaming down and darkness attracts, sunlight.
Okay.
Like, people would be offended by that. They're like, oh, you're calling him black and he sweats, so, people would be pissed off. So, I mean, just calling him out because he is black, which is the obvious.
But I feel like that's making it so much, like, it seems like people are being so sensitive to a point where they're like, don't remind him that he's black. That's what I get from this situation.
Because it's so dicey. Like, once you mix it, then everyone is up in arms over nothing. I mean,
I remember about 15 or 16 years ago, ESPN had a disastrous experiment where they put Rush Limbaugh on some of their football coverage.
Oh, really?
Because he's a big sports fan, right? And so they thought, oh, we'll put him in there and he'll know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah.
Lord.
And it didn't last very long at all because Rush Limbaugh went right into being Rush Limbaugh and started talking about how Donovan McNabb at the time was a really great quarterback. And the media was very, very happy to see a black quarterback do well. Mm-hmm. And that's why people were so happy that he was so. And people were like, oh, okay, well, we dipped our toe in that pool. I don't know who thought Rush Limbaugh was a good idea for this, but he steps in it immediately. But that's not what this guy was saying. Again,
no, this guy's just saying,
a really clunky way to say
what this guy's saying is when you are moving at those speeds that these players are moving at, when you're moving at football speeds at the NFL level, and there is black fabric and black skin, it makes it really difficult to spot the ball because
they don't want to make it seem like someone has a disadvantage because of their skin.
No,
and I think that's what they were.
He's not saying he has a disadvantage. He's saying he has an advantage.
But they're saying, he has any type of, he's different than any other player whatsoever that's not white, then it's a problem. So they don't want to call attention to that.
Right,
I don't know why.
But if Stephen A. Smith had said the same thing, they wouldn't have gotten upset. Probably. I wonder if they would. It's just a weird thing to say.
It is a little bit weird thing to say, but I understand what he's trying to say, and I don't think it's something that should have gotten him suspended.
No, if it came out of the mouth of a black man, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I think intent is being completely pushed away in this situation. You're just saying, oh, you mentioned the color of his skin? Well, that's that's that. You gotta be suspended.
I honestly feel bad for those people because they do speak just like extemporaneously.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to keep, the show going, like just keep the ball afloat. And I don't even think he really meant anything by it. All of us just
he's
talk
just saying it's
casually.
hard. Is he a former player or is he just an analyst?
No, that's why I said.
Yeah.
I remember when he played on he was on the Bears when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So he knows. He's speaking from
he was a DL.
Yes, he knows how hard in that situation it is. Even if it's a white player carrying the ball, it's hard to see who has the ball. I played Pee Wee football, and 98% of the time, I had no idea who had the ball. Now, I was on the bench, it was kind of far away, but it was still hard to see.
So yours was distance related, is what
and
you're
I'll
saying.
tell you what, in
You're out
Medina
there with
County,
binoculars.
there weren't any black kids, and it was still hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, listen, there's a lot of white pitchers wearing white jerseys.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, if you're going to speak about that, it's sad, but the times we're living in, you just got to issue a disclaimer like, hey, I don't mean anything by this, but this is just going to be a fact. This is science.
But who got him in trouble? Like, who heard this and said, oh, he's trying to disparage Lamar Jackson? Because I think those are the people that are actually doing the damage in this situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People are taking it at whoever called a complaint, I don't know, but people are taking it as, oh, he's not, going off of his merit or off of his talent. It's because of his skin that he has an advantage. Like, I don't know, what do they call it? Affirmative action type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got the ball through affirmative action.
You got the ball through affirmative action.
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
oh, we just let you score because we couldn't see, with your dark skin, at least it's coming into play for something.
Yeah, just saying that the reaction time is so important in the NFL when you're playing at those speeds that you need to be able to spot the ball as quickly as possible. And if you're very good at that fake and it's blending into colors and it's like camouflage, I almost hit some dude on Saturday night I was driving to Tremont, and this dude was walking across the street by the bus stop.
Black hoodie, black pants.
No, white dude in camouflage, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Don't wear camouflage and walk across the street when it's not your turn to walk across. Like you're jaywalking, and then you flick me off because I almost hit you. You are trying to blend into the surroundings.
Here, I got the clip. I'll play the clip.
All right.
When his dark skin color with a dark football with a dark uniform, you could not see that thing. I mean, you literally could not see when he was in and out of the mesh point, and and that's going to mean, and you're a half step slow on.
That's the point.
What has Lamar Jackson said?
It makes it
Has
half step slow.
anybody?
He's got a good racist voice, though. He got the voice of a racist.
That guy does?
Sounds like a good, like, get the hell off my lawn. I wish he would have ended it like, all right, Blackie, back to you.
Stop talking about my mesh point.
Has Lamar Jackson commented on this at all?
That was my question is, has the player actually said anything? I mean, he probably doesn't care. They're probably sticking
he's
microphone.
an MVP candidate. He's like, hey, we're winning games, and I'm playing great. So if this is an advantage that I have, on top of all the speed and other talent that I have, then yeah, I'm going to run with it.
I think that's why people were pissed off more than anything. Just besides the fact that he said it was a black guy, they're saying a black guy got it, ahead and not off of his talent. I think that's what they took it as, but that's not what I heard.
Text from a former college Division I linebacker. You can't see the ball with a white QB when they mesh. What's mesh? When they mesh.
Mesh, like at that handoff point.
Okay.
So
you can't see a ball with a white QB when they mesh, and you don't ever spot the ball. That's not how defense works.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where you're trying to see if he has the ball, but it's very difficult, and that reaction time is so important when you're playing defense. So you just got to get to the ball, or whoever, a lot of the times when they fake a handoff and the running back doesn't get the ball, he still gets tackled because they don't know if he has the ball or not. And I think this guy is just talking about his experience playing football, and they're taking it into this racial context that is not how he didn't mean it in a bad way at all. He's just saying these are the facts of the situation, and this is how you try to react to that situation.
Yeah. Well, thus far they said that they have suspended him for Sunday. I can't imagine this is something you would lose your job over.
I hope
I mean,
not.
he has offered this seemingly heartfelt apology, but obviously these days, then the apology gets scrutinized.
Right.
Hey, JD.
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, I just want to say that this whole situation is not white. Hey, yo.
I see what you did there, JD. Yeah.
You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
All right. You have a good one.
Oh, okay. That was okay.
All right, black to you, Alan.
I thought he was going to say something else. Well, listen, cancel culture is one thing, but it's not everything.
Right. And it's one of those things.
But again,
where
when people say that they want an apology and then someone apologizes and they go, "Well, I don't know if that was
what
heartfelt."
happened, yeah.
What do you want me to do? Slit my own throat, win myself in the back? Like, there's some people what they meant and that they're not really sorry when they apologize.
Because he doesn't really have anything to apologize here. Like, his apology, and I didn't even see his apology, but I'm guessing it's something like, hey, that was not my intent.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
was just trying to analyze this quarterback's
I
play.
have nothing but the utmost respect for this guy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I mean, consequences, by the way, are not cancel culture. There are different things at play. That's not necessarily cancel culture. I mean, no one's owed a job. So, if there are consequences from something you say or do, that's not cancel. I mean, obviously, we are in a lunatic era right now where there are people who demand all kinds of weirdo repercussions for next to nothing. But every time somebody is asked to explain something, that's not cancel culture. If this guy loses his job, I'd be real surprised. But, again, we are all speaking off the cuff.
Right.
And you're hoping in that singular moment you don't trip over yourself or say something weird. And, this guy's on the phone talking to a sports radio station. He's probably looking at notes while he's talking. I don't know.
And that's why I'm saying, like, intent is very important for the situation where he is not saying anything to try and denigrate black people or Lamar Jackson's skin color. He's just saying it's a factor in assessing where the ball is at that moment.
It seems like something that would be a split-second observation as you watch the game that you might not want to replicate verbally. You might go, "Oh, God, I can't even see where the ball is. The guy's black. He's got black." You might think that in your head as you're watching the game. I don't know that I would have repeated that on the,
Like, if a black, like you said, if Stephen A. Smith said this, he wouldn't, it wouldn't even be an issue. It's just because a white guy said it, and I think they're like, well, let's see what this is all about.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and again, I think that's saying that, like, Lamar Jackson and black people are so sensitive that if you just mention the color of their skin and tell them that they're black, they're supposed to be like, well, I didn't know I was black.
If you mention a verifiable fact.
Right. It sounds like to me, it seems like they're shaming Lamar Jackson for being dark-skinned. That's why I'm just completely baffled by this whole story.
It also had to have gotten its, I assume most of these things get their start on social media. It's not like people are like calling the 49ers or calling the radio station and complaining, or probably people listening to that segment or that show.
I feel like the people that are outraged are just the people that heard that one clip. They didn't even watch the
Well, that's
whole
what I'm
thing.
saying. I can't imagine that.
And they probably didn't even hear it. They probably just are piling on, too.
You see the article or you see the headline whenever it's on Twitter or Facebook. It's like, this guy said this, this player had an advantage because he was black. You couldn't even see that thing, and they think he's talking about the guy versus the ball.
It's never, it's never going to be like the regular listeners of the radio station. They're going to get upset. They get what the guy was doing.
Well, it's like the day when we were talking about the Harriet Tubman movie, and we were talking about Sandra Bullock and
Julia Roberts.
Oh, Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts. Don't you dare talk about Sandy like that.
That's right.
Sandy has class.
You keep Sandy out of this.
Whatever it was.
Lovely bird
all
box.
white women look the same to me. What can I say? But yeah, we had that caller, Damon, I believe, was the guy he called, and he's like, "Man, I'm so mad right now." And then we talked to him for a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and it seemed to be okay. I hope you're still listening, Damon.
Yeah, you said which white woman would you have preferred to play Harriet Tubman, and he saw some humor in that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Hopefully, Tim Ryan can figure all this out with the 49ers.
It's hard to be white nowadays. Oh, man.
It's almost hard to be white.
I feel so bad.
50% of Poundcake. Poundcake's constantly at war with himself.
Gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, fortunately for you, your white side and your black side, you can always...
I love reaping the benefits of both.
You can always coexist, reaping the benefit. You did say reaping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So hard to be white these days means it's almost a little bit hard to be
It's
white.
almost inconvenient.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
almost-
almost being treated differently because of my skin color. Almost.
It's bi-weekly annoying
Yeah.
is what it is.
Soon, my white side of me comes out. As soon as I get pulled over, I'm like, oh my gosh, officer, I'm so sorry. I was speeding. I was hurrying because I was meeting my father at the country club, and he doesn't
The
like me to be
country
late.
club.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. He's like, oh, what country club? Bushwood. Poundcake at Bushwood. Would you like to tie me up with one of your ties, Ty? All right, listen. Enough of this frivolity. Joe List is waiting patiently. He's doing the weekend at Hilarities. He'll come in and we'll catch up with what he's been doing. You can go to pickwickandfrolic.com to look into tickets for this weekend. And I'll have Chris McQuanziga tickets for you later on, Bill and Mary and a whole bunch of other very funny people going to do a show the 29th at the Agora. So we'll set you up for that later on. 35192 if you want to text.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio.